One of my favorite conspiracy theories of all time is the existence of extraterrestrial life, or aliens, whatever you want to call them. While there's been many alien abduction and UFO cases throughout the years, especially the beginning of this year in 2023 with the whole UFO crisis, which turned out to be spine weather balloons, we still don't have an answer if aliens exist. All we have are these fake leak videos of alien encounters and UFOs caught on tape, which is somewhat proof that aliens exist, but they always brush it off and say it's just the military. Why are they abducting a cow? The possibility that aliens exist is very likely, and there's that prospect that aliens come around and study humans and animals, and maybe stick a metal rod up your ass. In today's video, we will explore the mysterious cases of alien abductions. So sit back, relax, grab a snack, and let's get started. The first case is the abduction of Betty and Barney Hill. On September 19, 1961, the two were returning home to Portsmouth, Massachusetts from a trip to Niagara Falls and Montreal, Canada. As they were driving in the middle of the night, they saw an unknown bright light in the sky approaching their car. So they started moving in different directions, hoping this unknown object loses sight of them. And it did. Kinda. This light orb just stops moving out of the sun, and here's where they made their mistake. They decided to stop their vehicle. Barney then got out with his binoculars to examine this unknown object for some reason, describing it to be the shape of an old-fashioned hat and about 40 feet in diameter with multiple windows, even seeing a humanoid-like creature in the window. He saw that the craft started to descend towards him, so he ran back inside the car and started speeding away, and was later stopped in the middle of the road by these creatures. Unfortunately, the car couldn't move, so there's no escape, and 11 of these creatures, described to have human-like features, but the eyes are more separated, they have small noses and a thin strip for a mouth, no hair, and also lacking ears, started to approach Betty and Barney, abducting them, taking them aboard their aircraft, where they sat them down, told them to relax, and ran tests both on Betty and Barney, and even showed them the star map and where they came from. Okay. 2 hours later, the couple was then dropped off by their car, and they got up and drove away like nothing happened to them. In the moment, they literally didn't know what hit them, and all this information was from their hypnosis therapy, which helped them reveal all these events when they went missing for 2 hours. And the crazy part about this was, through many hypnosis sessions, both were able to recall what happened to them and had a very similar story, so they could have been telling the truth. Also, this was the first ever alien abduction case ever reported, so of course the media went crazy. Barney was on an episode of To Tell the Truth, which aired on December 12, 1966, and Betty even went on live TV to take a lie detector test and passed, so I guess she was telling the truth. I couldn't find any footage of the broadcast, only the audio for some reason. I also found recordings of the hypnosis sessions of both Betty and Barney. The recordings are both 40 minutes long, so if you want to check them out, I'll leave both in the description. But now let's go back 6 months later after the abduction. Betty reportedly claimed that the spacecraft came back to drop off her earrings, and for Barney, just a few months later after the abduction, started to develop warts around his, genital area. Luckily, the warts were removed and had no other visible effect on his body. But on February 25th, 1969, was the passing of Barney Hill just 8 years after the abduction. The wife doesn't think his death was from aliens and was just his health. And on October 17th, 2004, Betty Hill passed away at the age of 85.
It's a newspaper. I went on TV. I was questioned by F. Lee Bailey. And then I sat down and had lie detector testing in front of the whole country. And I had very, very high ratings for honesty and truthfulness.
Whether you believe her or not, Betty still gets letters from well-wishers and UFO investigators the world over.
Betty became a huge celebrity in the UFO community. People will literally walk up to her house and asked for an autograph. Could this case just be a hoax and they were just trying to get the media's attention, or were they actually telling the truth and aliens actually abducted them? But moving on. The second case is the abduction of Frederick Valentine. On October 21st, 1978 at 6:19 p.m., Frederick Valentine, who was only 20 years of age, an instructor pilot who began his flight from Moorabbin Airport in Victoria, Australia to King Island, Tasmania, over Bass Strait in a Cessna 182L. His destination was only about an hour away and everything looked good. There were light winds and a clear visibility, so nothing could really go wrong. Between 7:06 and 7:12 p.m., Valentine made contact with Steve Roby at Air Traffic Control in Melbourne. During the transmission, Valentine asked if there was any known aircraft in his area. After Air Traffic Control said no, Valentine claimed there to be a large unknown aircraft above him flying at high speeds with 4 bright lights. Valentine then said, quote, "It's approaching right now from due east towards me. It seems like he's playing some sort of game. He's flying above me 2-3 times at a time at speeds I could not identify. It is hovering over me, and it's not an aircraft." Valentine continued to describe the aircraft, saying, quote, "It seems like it's stationary. What I'm doing right now is orbiting, and the thing is just orbiting on top of me. Also, it's got green lights, and it's sort of metallic. It's all shiny on the outside." And it just vanished. His last message around 7:12 p.m. to Air Traffic Control was, quote, "Melbourne, that strange aircraft is hovering on top of me again. It is hovering, and it's not an aircraft." The call was then cut off, and after 17 seconds of silence, the radio came back on with a loud static screeching noise, and that was the last of Valentine. Authorities said they have searched the area for 4 days and found nothing of Valentine, and he was never seen again. Investigators concluded that the most likely explanation of Valentine's disappearance was he became disoriented, being an inexperienced pilot with only 150 hours of flight time and minimal night flying experience. He could have been deceived by the illusion of a tidal horizon, he could have been suicidal, or a victim of a meteorite crash. Meteorites don't hover, what the fuck are they on about? According to another source, Valentine was also fascinated with UFOs. He watched movies on extraterrestrials and even had a UFO scrapbook. Yeah, I'm done. Before and after Valentine's disappearance, there were reports of UFO sightings, including cigar-shaped lights seen near King Island, Australia, 2 months prior before Valentine disappeared. A farmer allegedly saw a craft hovering over his land near Adelaide the morning after his disappearance. He claimed that he saw the plane stuck on the side of the craft. One of the last pieces of information was Valentine reaching Cape Otway at 7 p.m. Here's a photograph taken of Otway just 20 minutes before Valentine disappeared. There's this whole conspiracy theory that Valentine staged his disappearance, but I don't think anyone will go out their way pretending to be abducted by aliens. He was obsessed with aliens, so he could have just contacted them spiritually and say, "Hey, help me fake my death." But I don't know. A story I couldn't leave out is this encounter with the Men in Black and what could have been a near abduction. It's a whole conspiracy that the Men in Black are just aliens disguised as humans trying to keep the secret of alien existence. They usually target people who spot UFOs and UFO researchers. On October 14, 2008 in Niagara Falls, New York, Shane Salvar, I think I'm saying that right, a hotel manager and security guard spotted what to be described as a large triangular UFO outside the hotel. Shane reported the sighting to a UFO investigator team where they looked further into the case. Then about 3 weeks later, according to 3 witnesses, there were 2 unidentified, very tall men who were dressed in black suits and black hats that were asking for Shane. Fortunately, Shane wasn't available at the time, nowhere near the hotel luckily. They were described to appear strange and horrific. They terrified the hotel staff. A woman who spoke to them stated that the men had identical faces, pale skin, and hairless faces. Their expressions were so blank and strange. She claimed that she felt as they knew what she was thinking. Later, Shane looked at the security tape recordings the day the men were reportedly seen, and to his surprise, the footage did catch the 2 men. The third case is the abduction of Travis Walton. On November 5, 1975, 22-year-old Travis Walton was working as a lumberjack in the Apache Sitgreaves National Forest. After a hard day at work, he loaded up in a truck with 6 of his co-workers and headed back towards the nearest town, Snowflake, Arizona. As they drove on with the night settling in, Travis noticed a bright light through the trees just 100 feet from him. When the men got closer, they saw that it was a strange golden disc hovering stationary about 20 feet off the ground with a 15 to 20 foot diameter and an 18 to 10 foot width. The truck was stopped, and after an argument, Travis decided to approach the craft. As he got closer, a beam of light struck him and he flew several feet and blacked out. His co-workers, terrified at this scene, left Travis behind and just took off. It's kind of funny. Once they had gone about a quarter mile away, they say they saw the alien craft zip skywards and vanish. They returned back to the scene to look for Travis, but according to them, he was gone. He was nowhere to be seen. But now, let's go to Travis's POV. I fucking love this story. Meanwhile, Travis claims that he awoke in what he thought was a hospital. He looked up to the doctors working on him and realized they were short, bald humanoid aliens. Travis attacked the 3 beings, who then retreated. He left the room where they did the whole operation and explored the other rooms to escape the craft, making it to the control room where he was approached by a large, muscular man wearing blue coveralls and a helmet. This strange person led him through the ship, showing off the hangars and other amenities before basically kicking him off the ship into some warehouse full of other saucers. Eventually, he was led into a room where there were 3 other humans, 2 males and 1 female. Same thing, they were wearing blue coveralls but no helmet. These people were described to be perfect according to Travis. They were all very good looking. The men had muscular bodies and the woman looked like a perfect woman, smooth skin and blemishless. And also the 4 quote-unquote humans Travis encountered looked like they shared a family-like resemblance, but not looking completely identical. These people gently pushed Travis onto a table and put a mask over his mouth and nose, at which Travis passed out. The next thing Travis knew was he was lying on the ground in Herbert, Arizona, roughly 40 miles southwest of where he was abducted. He saw a silver dish-shaped craft hovering over the road near him, which flew up in the sky and vanished. Although Travis thought he was gone for only an hour and a half, he later learned that he had been missing for 5 days. And over this time period, Travis's crew went under investigation. The authorities, who were skeptical, believed that the 6 other co-workers murdered Travis due to a disagreement they had earlier that day. But during the investigation, the 6 co-workers went under psychometric and polygraph testing, during which none of the men confessed about faking the abduction, and all the later lie detector tests administered to Travis and the other witnesses came back as passing or inconclusive. A psychiatrist suspected the entire abduction was in Travis's imagination, but couldn't explain why the others went along with it. The funny thing about Travis and this abduction case is that Travis appeared on Fox's game show Moment of Truth, where he took a polygraph test and failed.
So we asked that question. Question 15 is simply this. Were you abducted by a UFO on November 5th, 1975?
Yes.
False.
Well, Travis, I told you at the very beginning of this show that I'm not a skeptic. And so I try not to judge or root one way or the other, but I was really hoping that this answer was a true answer. All I will say to you is that when asked this while strapped to the polygraph machine, it was deduced that your response was conclusively deceptive.
While some people truly believe in their experiences of abduction by extraterrestrial beings, others attribute them to sleep paralysis, hallucinations, false memory, or psychological factors. Whether you believe in alien abductions or not, it's fascinating to study the stories, analyze the evidence, and try to understand the underlying factors behind these claims. Also, some of them are really funny and random, like this Travis case.
Were you abducted by a UFO on November 5th, 1975?
Yes.
False.
And that will do it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you should leave a like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. It will notify you the next time I upload. Comment maybe. And yeah, that's about it. See ya.